Hello, brothers and sisters. It's a new week. We are very happy to welcome you to our show titled Speak of Africa. We have a whole lot of news for you today. What's the biggest news? Well, as usual, we want to say thank you to all our subscribers. Thank you to all our viewers. If you are viewing this show for the first time, my name is Prince Ojong, your host. We started this show because we wanted to give you a voice, and this is your platform. For the show of today, we're looking at the motherland and we're looking at geopolitics. What are the big stories? Well, the major story we can share with you is Donald Trump travel ban and restrictions. Over 12 countries, Trump has banned these countries. Trump has restrictions on these countries. Sierra Leone, Togo, they are on restriction. But you have other countries like Chad that Trump has completely banned. And you can see the way Mahatma Debris Idno has responded by also banning the United States. So the travel ban is bigger than what Trump did with Trump 1.0. When Trump first came to the White House for the first time, he targeted a lot of countries in the Muslim area, like Arab countries, because he was against Islam. But this time, he has broadened his reach. He's more audacious. He knows that this is the end. He may not run again, so he's doing everything. He's pulling all the stops. That's what is happening. So those are the big stories. Trump's travel ban and restrictions. At least 7 African countries are under Trump's radar. So he's looking at countries where immigrants came to America and overstayed their visas. They have been targeted big time, and that's what is happening. Then the second major story is the fallout between Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, and Donald J. Trump. These are two megalomaniacs. Some people call them, using terms in psychology, the guy is more like a narcissistic, disordered personality. That's the kind of guy these guys are. They are megalomaniacs. So they are very infantile. So now they are fighting over what? The big, beautiful bill. This bill is breaking these people apart. We are not really concerned with the details, but on the surface, the disagreement surrounds Elon Musk's disagreement. This bill is not good because it hurts his pocketbook. Elon Musk spent over almost 300 million to buy the presidency for Donald Trump. Now that Donald Trump has gotten the presidency, he's not paying the guy back the way he should. And this is what has created the rift between both parties. Then, of course, things are going to give. Trump is making threats. Elon Musk is making threats. But these are the big stories. So how are Africans going to be affected by all of this? For the most part, we are more concerned with the way the travel ban and the travel restrictions are going to affect Africans. For one, Africans are also concerned with remittances. As you know, most Africans who are abroad, they look at America like El Dorado. I remember when I was in high school, I read a novel by Voltaire titled Candide. Candide talks about, it's a travelogue. It talks about a young guy called Candide who has been taught an optimistic philosophy by his master Pangloss. All is for the best in the best of all possible worlds. So Candide was very positive. But wherever he went, he only found tragedy. So this is the moral of the story. Wherever he went, then finally he was searching for El Dorado. Then he realized that, well, this is futile. So all of this is based on the philosophy of existentialism as proposed by proponents such as Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, the absurdity of life. That's just what the book is about. And that's what we also see playing out in the real world with Africans in America. For most Africans, they want to leave the continent because they feel there is nothing. The continent is a no man's land. taken over by Western multinational corporations. Neocolonialism reigns, so there's no future for young people. So most Africans are leaving the motherland in search of greener pastures in America, which they look at as the land of opportunities, El Dorado. But Donald Trump is changing things. He has turned this El Dorado into a nightmare for your average African. And this is the reality. So for most of our people, by the end of this show, we're going to come up with some solutions. But we'll tell you, don't give up. Don't feel bad. Let us unite. Because right now, the biggest problem Africa faces is not that we don't have resources. We have resources, but our problem is disunity. So let us unite and cultivate our garden, our paradise, which is Africa. Africa has a lot of resources. Let us free Africa and unite so that we can enjoy the fruits of our labor. If we unite and build a new Africa the way the young people want, there will be no reason for you to complain that, oh, Donald Trump has asked me to leave America and return to Africa. You return to Africa with pride, then you will tell Americans, don't come to Africa. You come to Africa, we chase you out. So everything balances. So that's what the show of today is about. We're going to focus on what we can do to cure our divisions. We're going to provide some solutions, and we're going to engage you to also think and add more solutions to the table. That's basically what the show of today is about. And we're asking you to comment. This is not a monologue. We want you to take the subject we're talking about today, because the new generation is tired of the divide and rule. They want Africans to unite so that they can build a new motherland, which will be good for all of us. And that's why we're spending time on this show to educate you on the issues. And we ask you also to share issues with us so that we can educate each other. I don't know everything. Sometimes some of you will send a text and say, oh, Prince, you are behind on this. Yes, sometimes I'm not knowledgeable about something that is happening right now, and you educate me. It's okay. I like that education. That's what we can use. I'm just a messenger. So don't look at me like a guy who knows everything. If I knew everything, I would solve Africa's problem. I will not be doing this show. I'm doing this show because I want to create an environment for metaphysical rebellion. Metaphysical rebellion comes when we create a framework where people can rise and say, I'm a slave of neocolonialism. I'm tired of being a slave of neocolonialism. I want to be free. I want to chart my own destiny. I want a new me. I want to be born again. I want to have a new self, a new destiny. Nobody will control me. I want to be free. So that's basically what the show of today is about. And when we talk about the countries, there are so many countries we want to talk about today, which we can use to illustrate the main ideas. The search for African unity, the search for African freedom. Most of these countries, they always have issues because the people are not happy where they are. There are problems because of disunity. And sometimes the multinational corporations with the colonial masters are conniving to make us quarrel with each other, make us fight each other. That's basically what is happening in this context. And we're going to bring some of those countries. Look at Algeria. You look at Algeria and Morocco. These are two countries, large countries in the north of Africa. Okay? Here you've heard of Western Sahara. You've heard of Polarizio, right? These are all people who are fighting because we're facing as a people. What about Angola? In Angola, we have what they call Cabinda. Cabinda, the people in Cabinda have been fighting the Angolan government because they want to be free. But the government, even the one of Lourenço João, they are still suppressing these people. What about Cameroon? In Cameroon also, you have people in Ambazonia who want to be free. But the neo-colonial government of Biya doesn't want them to be free. So they try to frustrate them. You have IDPs. People who have been displaced. They are not even in Cameroon anymore. They are in Nigeria and other neighboring countries. Is this good? We see a lot of families that are suffering. The Nira 10, they were kidnapped from Nigeria and taken to Cameroon, thinking that they will stop the revolution. But the revolution continues up to this day. People go and deceive Paul Biya that, oh, give us more money. We're going to fight those Samba guys. But even with all the weapons, the fighting continues. The world is ignoring the crisis, but the fighting continues. Maurice Kamto, who has decided that, okay, I want to use a more legal approach to topple the Biya regime. So far, it's not working. He just came back from France. As we speak, the Biya regime is weaponizing the justice system against Maurice Kamto. Maurice Kamto has been Assistant Minister of Justice in La République du Cameroon. So he knows the law. Maurice Kamto was the one who defended Cameroon when they had the issue in Bakassi. Cameroon won as a result of the powerful team Maurice Kamto put together and defended Cameroon. But this is the same Maurice Kamto who is being humiliated by the Biya regime because he dares criticize them and says, I want to run for president. And that's the tragedy of Cameroon. Most of the people are sitting and waiting. Oh, somebody even floated a document. Oh, Jean Kecha, they said, oh, Famin Dongo, say, okay, NDPC, Biya's political party has decided that Jean Nkweta is going to be our candidate. We checked. When we look at the document, it looks fake. So we don't think this came from the Biya network. But people are just frustrated, so they tend to fill the vacuum with lies, stories. Then what about Chad? Well, in Chad, we told you before, Mahatma Debi has decided to reciprocate. America has banned his country, so which means you cannot get travel visas to travel from Chad to come to America. He has reciprocated by also banning Americans. So what's going to happen? That's what we're waiting to see. Then we'll take you now to Ethiopia. In Ethiopia too, Ethiopia is the seat of the AU, the African Union. Yet, all is not milk and honey in Ethiopia. Ethiopia had divisions, deep division. It's a very big country. You have the Ogaden area and you have Tigray. Those two areas too are fighting to separate. So there's always that talk of war. There's no unity. So you can see that in Africa, even in Ethiopia, where we have the seat of the AU, which used to be the Organization of African Unity, there's no peace. So how can we develop when we cannot really come together? So that's the challenge. We need to come together. Then what about Mali? In Mali also, because of the jihadist problem, Igoni Prigozhin of the Wagner Group settled there to try to help the junta to kick out the insurgents. But it has not really worked. Finally, they brought now the Africa Corps. The Wagner Group is leaving, but Africa Corps will stay. They too are struggling to fight jihadists in Mali. So how is this going to work out? Because the Tuaregs, they are not really happy with the government, so they are fighting. So if we keep fighting each other, how are we going to grow? We will continue being the divided nation states of Africa. And this is what is not really helping us in terms of development. Then what about Nigeria? Well, in Nigeria, we have Bola Tinubu. We've always talked about him on this show every week. Nigeria is a very big country in Africa. It has probably the biggest economy. Sometimes they say the South African economy is bigger. But we think Nigeria has a lot of resources. The problem in Nigeria is bribery and corruption. The politicians are very corrupt. Even though Tinubu has come, he has not even done much to help the country. His focus is really on 2027. He's thinking that he needs to be re-elected. So the first few years that he has been elected, he's not doing anything. He's spending the whole tenure just struggling to make sure that he wins re-election. You can see the mobilization that is going every day in Nigeria. That's all what he cares about. And his cronies are doing everything to make sure that he's re-elected. But what about running the country and doing the people's job? No, he doesn't have time for that. So you see a lot of people are criticizing him. Even the Catholic bishops are criticizing Bola Tinubu. They feel he's not doing much to help the country. Then, of course, you also have a lot of politicians too who are not on Tinubu's side. So he will punish them. But those who are with the APC, he will make sure that he helps them. So he's turning Nigeria now into a one-party state. How can you have a one-party state in a real democracy? So this is the challenge. People feel like the issues that are really intractable in Nigeria, like insecurity. Bola Tinubu is not handling these issues. We want him to handle these issues, but he's not handling them. So that's the challenge. Nigeria is a big country. This is a country that the British put together. These are different peoples. It's true, you have the major tribes, like the Yoruba ethnic group, the Igbo, and the Hausas and Fulani, but you have other minorities too. They just created artificial boundaries and put these people inside without thinking that some of these people were kingdoms in the past, in the colonial past. But they just lump all of them together into one nation without taking into account their ethnicity. So this is a weakness which is really messing things up for a lot of Nigerians today. Then you look at Senegal. In Senegal also, we have the issue of Casamance. Senegal is really trying. For the first time, you've seen that they've had many transitions, peaceful transitions. We know there have been protests, because even before Ousmane Sonko became prime minister, he has been protesting against the government of Macky Sall. They killed a lot of his followers, but finally, the democratic transition took place. But the issue in Casamance remains. It looks like the government of Bassirou Diomaye Faye is doing his best to try to create some kind of rapprochement with the people who want to secede, the people in the Casamance region. So we think this is something positive, and that's what we need to see in much of Africa. Then what about Somalia? Well, in Somalia, we have Somaliland. We've been talking to you about this. This is also another region that wants to secede, and they have been having these secessionist tendencies for so long. Then what about Sudan? Of course, Sudan also already dealt with its succession thing, secession. You have South Sudan, which is now an independent country. But are they having peace? Not really. There's conflict. Then what about Tanzania? Well, Tanzania, you had Zanzibar. Okay? So you had the other issue with secession. So this is a problem we're facing in entire Africa. So what are the solutions? So now it's time for us to start thinking solutions. When we look at it, the new African generation needs solutions. Now that America and most of these European countries have declared Africans persona non grata, the wretched of the earth, the unwanted, we need to focus on unity so that we can create our own area in Africa. If we can do that, it's going to help us a whole lot. So this begins by looking at political solutions. We need an African parliament so that every country would have representatives. Dictators, listen, you are the ones blocking the movement forward. Africa needs to move forward, but Africa cannot move forward when dictators have their limited ambitions. They want to be president. No. Put yourself in the people's shoes. Do what is good for the people. Join and create an African parliament so that politically we make decisions based on what the people want. Economically, we need to usher in a period of compassionate capitalism. We need to have our own currency. My friend Ivory calls it the euro, the Afro. With the Afrozone, we'll be able to trade in the whole Africa using one currency so that the currency will become more like the dollar. We have a lot of resources, gold, and many other resources, which we're going to use to back this currency. Any student of economics will realize that this is good for us to have. We need to have our own currency. Nigeria has a currency, but because of corruption and other weaknesses, Nigeria is not really realizing its potential. We've been saying it on this show. Bola Tinubu, release Nnamdi Kanu. Bola Tinubu, release Nnamdi Kanu. Today, people are still making noise because Nnamdi Kanu is not free. Then, on the social level, we should create an environment where people are proud of their home. And this is what I call nationalism. We should be nationalists. We should love ourselves. We should be proud of where we come from. If we can do this, I think this will help us politically, socially, and economically. And I think we've come to the end of our show, but we're encouraging you, our viewers, to share ideas with us. We've told you what we think are our own proposed solutions for African unity. Politically, an African parliament. Economically, we need a currency, the Afro. Then socially, nationalism. Those are our three solutions. What do you think? What are your own solutions to help Africa move forward? We cannot keep relying on Europe as El Dorado, as the paradise. Now, paradise lost. We've lost paradise because we cannot come to America. What do? Do we just cry and die? No. We have to cultivate our own garden. Il faut cultiver notre jardin, comme dit Voltaire. Merci beaucoup, mes frères. Thank you very much, my friends. May God bless you.
Do you need tax preparation services? We can help. Contact PJ Tax Service, America's only full-time income tax preparers. Like the good old doctor, we do not close our doors after April 15th. In fact, we stay open all year round in order to serve you. We are located at 11207A, Lockwood Drive, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20901. Make an appointment today with Prince Ojong, your tax expert. Call 240-350-1131 or visit us on the web at www.pjtaxservice.com.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.